The Nigerian Senate has received the 2019 budget report from its Committee on Appropriation. The committee had last week given up to this week to lay the budget in the upper chamber. In line with the directive, Chairman of the Appropriation Committee, Senator Dadjuma Gombe Central, laid the budget report before the Senate during the Wednesday section. President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, shortly after the 2019 budget report was laid before the Senate, adjourned the plenary to Wednesday, April 24, to consider the report. The long-awaited police reform bill, which aims at tackling the numerous challenges affecting Nigerian security system, has finally been passed by the Senate. The bill also seeks to remove the colonial legacies of Nigerian police, which places emphasis on protecting colonial state interests at the expense of citizenry. The need to have a less corrupt policing system in Nigeria is also highlighted by the bill, as noted under Section 24 of the Reform Bill. Section 28 of the bill also provides that no one should be detained without being charged to court, an effort to curb the recurring issue of illegal detention. Currently, the strength of Nigerian police force stands at 375,800 for the country that has estimated 74.2 million population. Nigeria operates at rate of 1 police officer to 600 Nigerians, which is alarming. The bill, when assented by President Muhammadu Buhari, will make police more people-oriented, professional, accountable, and fine-tuned to respect international standards in policing, with emphasis on respect for human rights. Presenting the committee report during the Wednesday plenary, Senator Tijani Kaura from Zamfara said the passage of the bill will create a big stride towards providing and improving security and policing in the country.
The bill seeks to, among other things, provide for a police force that is more responsible and responsive to the needs of the general public and has entrenched its operation the values of fairness, justice, equity, accountability, cooperating and partnering with the communities it serves, and also to uphold and safeguard the fundamental rights of every person and respect the dignity of persons. The bill is necessitated by the fact that laws that governs the operation of the Nigerian police force has seen no comprehensive review since its initial promulgation in 1943.
Lawmakers threw their weight behind the bill during the plenary while expressing their view on the composition of the bill.
Within the public service, it is 4 years renewable for another term of 4 years. If you want to give a single term, usually it is 5 years. And the present practice for most of the organizations now is one single term of 5 years. So I think we need to achieve some consistency. Last 2 years or 1 year or 6 months, the moment he is appointed, that appointment is sacrosanct as far as the tenure is concerned. Exactly. He can only be removed as provided by the provision of the law. Exactly. I think we need to remove all ambiguity on this.
Page 125, 98, 2. The committee's recommendation, a person who knowingly abhors or entertains, is talking about intoxication, liquor, and all that. And that act can lead to death. But if you see the last paragraph, it's talking about a fine of 20,000 for an act that can lead to death. Because a man who takes liquor or psychotropic substances can also discharge ammunitions. And that act can lead to death. And we are now prescribing a punishment of 20,000 or imprisonment of 3 terms. It is not commensurate to...
We have to look at what this bill stands for and then see whether the contents of the bill address issues like the welfare and the environment within which our police can be changed to what is expected. We need to adopt that intervention window. We should look at the area of Police Trust Fund as an intervention window.
Create the office of the Inspector General of Police as we did in this bill, and you make it a statutory appointment. It means the existence of that office is statutory. So whether he reaches retirement or not, he already has an office which he occupies for a specified period of time, and in this case, 5 years.
In his remark after clause-by-clause consideration, the President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, said police reform bill will help establish more effective and efficient police force in the country.
For an act to repeal the Police Act Cap 19, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Police Act 2019 to provide for the framework for the police service and ensure cooperation and partnership between the police and communities in maintaining peace and combating crime, and for related matters 2019 is read a third time and passed. As we all notice, it's since 1943, nothing has been done in addressing the Police Act and the reform. And this is go a long way to show that we are a listening Parliament, listening Senate, and there's nothing better we can do in honor of those who have lost their lives along the way due to some of the facts that our laws at that time were not in line with what to ensure that our people are protected at all times. So I think this is a very great achievement for all of us, and I hope we continue to provide better security for our people, protect lives of citizens, and also ensure that the police officers to have better conditions and are more productive. Thank you.
With this new legislation to reform the police, it remains very pivotal that officers are made to understand the content and the act to ensure effective implementation so that objective of the reform will be achieved. From National Assembly Complex, Abuja, Muyiwa Bamdele reporting. The Nigerian Senate has passed the redrafted version of the Independent National Electoral Commission Act 2010 Amendment Bill 2019, the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill 2019, and 5 other bills to which President Muhammadu Buhari earlier declined assent. Other redrafted bills passed are the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism Bill 2019, the National Research Innovation Council Bill 2019, the Stamp Duty Act Amendment Bill 2019, the National Agricultural Seed Council Bill 2019, and the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund Amendment Bill 2019.
In the Committee of the Whole, consider the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill 2019 and are approved as follows: clauses 36(1) to 7 as recommended, long title as recommended. This is a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole consider the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC Act 2010, Amendment Bill 2019 are approved as follows: Clause 18 as recommended, Section 36 as recommended, Section 85 as recommended, Section 156 as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole?
It should be noted that following the President's refusal to assent the aforelisted bill, Senate set up a 7-member technical committee headed by Senator David Umaru, chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters, to look into the constitutional and legal implication of withholding of assent to the bill by the President and make appropriate recommendations on the way forward. The committee reviewed 6 constitutional amendment bills and 11 private bills. With about 32 days to the end of the present administration, the Federal Executive Council has approved a combined loan of $247.3 million to fund key infrastructure projects across the country. This new loan, coming a few days after the IMF cautioned Nigeria on loans, was made known by the Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja.
The first memo was a request for approval to get a facility of $150 million from the African Development Bank and $50 million from the African Grow Together Fund to finance the Nigeria Electrification Project. The Nigeria Electrification Project is a nationwide initiative to be implemented by the Rural Electrification Agency. The project aligns with the strategy of the federal government on electrifying the rural community. The second facility that we got approval for today is the North Core Dorsal Node Regional Transmission Project. This is a project that is part of the pipeline for the West Africa Power Pool priority projects. The intention is for the creation of a regional power pool in West Africa. The proposed project aims to connect Nigeria, Niger, Benin Republic, Togo, and Burkina Faso with a high voltage 330 kilowatts transmission line to facilitate energy trade amongst the participants. The project is in the total sum of $640 million, out of which each of the 4 countries involved has a component. Nigeria has the smallest component in this pack. Our component is a total loan of $27.3 million, IDA facility. That's a concessionary loan. Third loan is a loan that we got approval for in the sum of $20 million. It is for the Lagos State Transport Strategic Transport Master Plan, and this facility is from the French Development Agency. The objective of the project is to improve living conditions and the inhabitants of Lagos urban area and to promote urban development setting by efficient and effective public transport system.
Answering questions from State House correspondent on the burden of loans, the Finance Minister said the country is still within a safe margin.
We still say that at 19% to GDP, our borrowing is still low. What is allowed by our Fiscal Responsibility Act is a maximum of 25% of our GDP. Compared to our comparator countries, Ghana, South Africa, Angola, Brazil, we are the lowest in terms of borrowing. What we have is a revenue problem. When revenues perform at the aggregate rate of 55%, it hinders your ability to operate as you have planned in your budget. So it affects our ability to service all categories of expenditure, including salaries, allowances, capital, as well as debt. So what we are doing in the Ministry of Finance is concentrating on increasing and enhancing our revenue generation and collection capacity.
Speaking on the speculations making the rounds that fuel subsidy will soon be removed, the Finance Minister said there is no such plans now, as buffers to caution the effect of the removal has not been thought out.
That everywhere in the world where IMF does its review, it always gives advice, because that's the purpose of the review. And their advice is, when you give a subsidy, whether it is fuel or power, their advice is always look at how you can exit doing that, so that you're not doing that perpetually. And that's the same advice they gave Nigeria. So when I was asked, I said, we agree with that advice. We need to find how we can exit fuel subsidy. But how do we do that? We do that only when we have enough buffers to cushion the effect of the removal for our people. It is up to the executive, in support with the legislature, to agree what those buffers are. In some countries, they provided buses to transport people. In some countries, they provided subsidies in a manner that is affecting the people that are directly requiring the subsidy. We have not found a way to do that. What we're doing now is the subsidy is everybody that is benefiting, whereas it should be the people that are really vulnerable, that need the help, that can provide, that need the subsidy. So in the executive, with the support of the legislature, we have to find a formula that works for Nigeria. And until we do that, we should not be contemplating removing the subsidy, because indeed when we do, there will be people that will suffer. So we are not yet there. We discuss this periodically under the economics management team, but we still haven't found a formula that works for Nigeria. And you know, Nigeria is unique. It's not what works in Ghana might not work here. So it's still work in progress for us, and there is no intention to remove fuel subsidy at this time.
A memo for the establishment of a military university in Biu, Borno State, presented by the Education Ministry, was also approved by Council. From Abuja, I'm Festus Ejirog and Efifen for Ben Television.
The Progressive Youth Forum has endorsed Senate leader Ahmed Lawan for the seat of the Senate President of the 9th National Assembly. Speaking on behalf of the Youth Forum, the chairman, Ife Adebayo, said Lawan remained the best candidate for the job in terms of experience, leadership qualities, and ability to mobilize support for all progressive Congress-led government.
People being here, young progressive here. We look up to you, and we look up to seeing greater synergy between the legislature and the executive, because what suffered, what the administration suffered in the past 4 years. So that gives us lots of hope. Deep down in our mind, we can't wait for the next year to kickstart, and we'll foresee great synergy between these two great arms of government. And we believe that at the end of the day, at the expiration of the next 4 years, Nigerians will see believe in the message of change that it is offering.
In his response, Senator Ahmed Lawan thanked the youth for their support and promised not to let them and other Nigerians down if eventually emerge as Senate President of the 9th Assembly. It disabused the mind of those insinuating that Senate under his presidency will be a rubber stamp, saying separation of power among the three arms of government is all about specialization of function and not in acrimonious competition or rivalry in governance.
Some people, those who antagonize us or who don't understand us, will say Senator Ahmed Lawan's Senate presidency will be a rubber stamp. I often say rubber stamp, if rubber stamp is to mean that when the executive arm of government requests for legislative intervention that will bring goodies or democracy dividend to Nigerians, so be it. The essence of separation of powers does not mean that we are supposed to be fighting. And especially when you belong to the same political platform, the executive and the legislature, especially on that platform, are supposed to ensure that the programs of the political party are delivered. We have no other way to ensuring that President delivers without the support of the legislature. Even those who are not on our party platform, the PDP and YPP, we need to ensure that they work with us. Because at the end of the day, when we work for Nigeria, we don't discriminate. This section of the country is a political party that is different. Go to the Niger Delta and see what the presidency, what this administration is doing.
He added that the envision of the 9th Senate, and by extension the 9th National Assembly, will be an inclusive one for all federal lawmakers elect, irrespective of their political parties.
One of the few NGOs that call a spade is the Divine Smiles Foundation International, who has been doing life-transforming projects for the past 7 years. The NGO was founded by Prince Eric Odije, who is also the organizer and the president of Face of Edo and Face of the World Nigeria Beauty Pageant. The foundation recently rolled out a lending a helping hand to the handicapped, orphans, and the prisoners who have special needs to make life bearable for them, regardless of their background and religion affiliation. Few days ago, at the presentation of wheelchairs to some beneficiary, Patience Jimo and Isoken Gabriel, both living at Sapomba Road, Benin City, Edo State. Both of them have been paralyzed for several years, but could not afford to buy wheelchairs, and they were given free wheelchairs courtesy of the Divine Smiles Foundation International. Leading the delegate is the president, Prince Eric Odije, Face of Edo Beauty Queen, and Queen Tourism. The foundation made a surprise visit to the beneficiary and put permanent smiles on their faces. Prince Eric Odije, as he is fondly called, also used the opportunity to call on both corporate bodies and individuals to lend a helping hand to the less privileged in their community and across the nation, drawing the attention of all well-meaning Nigerians to the fire disaster at Amadin Orphanage Home in Benin City, who has rendered about 56 children homeless, asking people to come to the aid of the orphans by rebuilding Amadin Orphanage Home. It will be recalled that the foundation has in the past few years renovated and computerized some orphanage homes, giving us scholarship and donated free exercise book and school bags. Adeniyi Fetayo reporting for Ben TV.